Shalom Uvracha. We know that in those wonderful um, days that we are at, very big things are happening, and we know that in many of the days we are not able to recognize the real glow and the real shine of like the importance of those days and the greatness of those days. We're finding it hard to recognize the inner message and the hint that the Creator is sending to us through our daily occasions, through the life situations that we are dealing with. For an example, I said a few days ago that people think to themselves in many ways that the challenges and the difficulties that we experienced with the coronavirus and all those months that we were all locked down in our houses, and that everything around us have been changed so greatly in such a powerful and clear way. And people are thinking to themselves that, okay, now it was so hard and it was and still so bad and haven't been solved yet, but there is an inner layer to our life experience that really must be discussed, I think. And I thought of mentioning that for an example, that think about the fact that we were able for 3 months, billions of people, to be indoor, inside our houses, and to accept those trials and those judgments from heaven in a way that we stayed humble. And the majority of the people that I've been in touch with, and I think that in many of the circles that was the feeling and the experience, we were all finding very deep and meaningful lesson while being in our houses and with our families, and we felt and we saw a great bonding and a great connection to our own family cells and to our loved ones, and as well in the same time also in greater distance to different people from different nations with different cultures, different background, and we cared about them, and we found ourselves united with the population of the world. And this is something that is very meaningful, that is very powerful, that is very, very strong and deep spiritually. And the success of those 3 months, of that period of time that we were all like isolated and everyone was stuck in his own bubble, brought us to a place of inner growth, of spiritual development, something that is very, very deep and meaningful, that it's very hard to recognize when you are focusing on the outside world, when you don't pay enough attention to the real inner message and the real inner change that you're going through while you're experiencing things. We today are looking behind and we see that our businesses are not as they were a few months ago, and that our health is not exactly the same, and that we were in the house all that time and we were not making money, and like many things that a person can think of. We were not taking that vacation that we hoped for, where kids didn't go to school, and well, many aspects to those, to the way that to the fact that life didn't play as we hoped them to. But if you will look deep, you will understand that a very great development happened inside of you. You were able to stand in a test that not every generation was part of. You were united for a few months with billions of people, and your heart spiritually was attached to them, and you found connection with different life stories of different people that you saw on television or social media, or heard in phone conversation, different people's experience, and it touched your heart. It opened something inside of you that gave you a spiritual access to different souls, and therefore expanded your spiritual ability to new places, to new destinies. The soul of a person is not a physical object. The soul is spiritual, and it's very hard to explain spirituality when the world of concepts that we're using to explain things in our vocabulary is physical, because even the word spiritual is a word that is being described by the concept that is called spirit, and spirit is coming from a certain entity that has a certain role, a certain purpose, a certain definition. And when you try to explain something spiritual that is beyond words, even through words, it's impossible. You can only get a sense of what you really try to explain. And this is why a person who really wants to recognize his spiritual development, he must connect himself to that inner faith of his, to his deep understanding and his self-awareness, using his own spiritual tools. Means counting on your feelings and on your senses, and counting on them in your spiritual journey to recognize and to understand who you are and what's going on with you. If, for an example, you were honest in a certain point in your life, for an example, let's say that you were a student in college or in school or something, and the teacher asked who didn't make homework, and you raised your hand and you said, me, I didn't. And he, let's say, gave you punishment. Okay, so now you need to write that essay or something like that. Punishment, you need to stay another couple of hours after school, and you were the only one who got that punishment. Now, after school, all the kids, all the friends will came to you and told you, wow, what do you do? What did you do? Why did you do that? You didn't have to raise your hand if you wouldn't say a word, and they will start let you feel bad with yourself, with your honesty. But you, when you looked at yourself and you were thinking with yourself, should I say the truth? Should I be honest or should I hide it? You chose to be honest. And you chose that path because of your inner feeling. You thought to yourself that that will be the right way, the right approach to be honest and sincere and to admit the truth. And you were also okay with accepting the punishment on yourself because you realized that it's educative for yourself. But now when they are coming and then they start telling you, what have you done? And like, it was so silly, and why did you do it? And whatever, all those things, you will start doubting yourself. And then you will look from the window of your class and see all of them going home, and you will see them playing with their ball and playing all around in the yard or whatever. You're going to start fall to your sadness and to your depression. But it's only because that you gave too much credit to other people's opinion, instead of following the inner voice of your heart that was so clear in that moment. And when a person really wants to develop spiritually, he must develop those inner senses and that inner power to listen to himself, to listen to the voice of his soul. And I know that I heard many people who said, why that I'll count on myself? How can I count on myself? I have so many lackings. I'm falling. I'm failing. I made so many mistakes counting on myself in my life, and I did so many wrong things in my life. And I think that this is a very basic mistake, because really a person who looked deep inside of himself in the beginning, let's say that you just bought a house or you rent a house, and you're now entering the house, you're getting into the house, like, unfortunately, in 99.9 of the cases, you're going to have to deal with a lot of junk. You're going to have to deal with a lot of filth, with a lot of things that the last owners or the last tenant left in the house for you to deal with, or even dust, or even bugs, or whatever that you're going to find in that house. In the beginning of you getting into that process of enjoying your new place, you will have to deal with all the waste, with all the leftovers, with all the junk, with all the garbage that you need to get rid of. It's part of your entrance into the holiness of that place, into uncovering the true potential of that wonderful new space in your life. Like when you want to bite a fruit, you're going to have to break the peel. You're going to have to penetrate through a thick and hard layer that is meant to protect the fruit, and you will have to do it for that purpose, for the sake of enjoying the sweetness and the great flavor of that fruit. As well in spirituality, when you want to develop your self-awareness, when you want to meet yourself and find yourself, first of all, you're going to have to deal with all your waste, with all your junk, with all your negativity. When you want to meet yourself and you want to find yourself, you're going to have to go through your actions to know yourself. But then after you finish removing one layer, second layer, maybe sometimes 30 layers or 300 layers, some of us are going through a very harsh process of peeling those husks away from us. Some of us needs to deal with real bad things that we've done in our youth, or in the first years of our lives, or maybe some of us even start their tshuva process and coming closer to Hashem in the age of 70, and then they need to deal with 70 years of wrong. So sometimes in that process of finding your true self, you're going to have to deal with your anger issues, and with your fears, and with your anxieties, and with your low self-esteem, and your loneliness, and your self-pity, and many of your lackings. But it doesn't mean that that is really you. It doesn't mean that you are that filth. It doesn't mean that you are those lackings. It means that those lackings are covering you, but actually only to protect you, for you finally to find your true self. A person who really finds his true self finds the light of his soul inside. And inside of you there is an inner godly light that lives. The Creator's Shekhinah, the light of Hashem, the heavenly light of the Creator, the godly portion of God, the godly soul, it lives inside of us. Even if a person lived 100 years and sinned every day of his life, and he didn't made no mitzvot and no good actions, and in the last day of his life when he's 100%, and after 100 years of crimes and violations and being evil and horrible person to everyone, he will now really regret those bad things that he did, and now he will decide to take the prayer book, the Siddur. First thing that he will find in the Siddur, the first line in the morning prayer, first line that he will say will be a thanks to Hashem that brought back the soul in huge compassion, and then he will say, Rabba emunatecha, your faith is great. What does it mean your faith is great? What does it mean your faith is great? Modeh ani lefanecha, I thank you in front of you, melech chai v'kayam, live and exist king, shechazarta bi nishmati bechemla, that you brought my soul back into me with compassion. Rabba emunatecha, your faith is great. Which faith? Which faith are we talking about? The Creator, he needs to have faith. He believes in something. In what? God believes in what? God believes in you. That's the secret. God believes in you. Your faith is great in me, that you have hope from me, that I will do good, that I will do tshuva, that I will come back to you, that I will fix, that I will correct. Or else, which kind of faith Hashem has? What, Hashem believes in the Bible? Hashem believes in the commandments? Hashem believes in God, in Himself? What Hashem believes in? Hashem believes in me. This is why He gave me my soul back, in compassion, even though I'm not worthy. And every person that will go back and continue, even when he is 100 years old and sinned all his life, he will say the next verse, Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorai. My God, the soul that you put inside of me, it's pure. You created it, you made it, you put it inside of me, and you preserved it inside of me. And in the future to come, you will be the one to take it away. You are admitting that your soul is pure and it's godly and it's a creation of Hashem, and this is who you are, and that's what you're made of, and it doesn't matter who you are and where you're from. I'm working for years in this amazing Emunah project to reach out to people around the world and to wake them up and to remind them of their true identity, of who they really are, and to make them aware to the holy soul that shines inside of them. This morning I got a phone call from an amazing person. He is a king in Africa. He is a king that is ruling on a community of over 32 million people in West Africa, in Ghana, Togo, Nigeria, and other areas and states in West Africa. The king, named King Hai from Togo, from West Africa, he called me this morning and we spoke. He's Jewish. His ancestors are Jewish, were Jewish. All their tradition, all their connection, all their history is clear evidence, piles on evidence for their Judaism. They're from the tribe of Judah, and they have ancient scripts that are presenting and showing that huge evidence, and that holy man is desiring to be in touch with more of his siblings and to create connections and to bring unity between the different sections of Jewish people around the world. And you cannot ignore a population of 32 million people. And for me, it's a blessing rain in a hot day. It's like a cold water for a thirsty person. For years I'm calling out to the world, and I'm begging to people to believe in themselves and to find themselves. And this holy king, a king of 32 million people and more, is calling me and telling me, I'm following your classes and I'm watching your classes, and I believe in your message, and you're talking in the same way that my ancestors were talking, and in the ancient scripts that in our hands, many of the concepts that you are talking about are clear and known, and this is time for salvation. This is time for complete redemption. This is a wake-up call for all of us to realize that even if you work like I am, working for years on my own, alone, screaming to the social media, screaming to people online, wake up and find yourselves and know who you are, and the tribes of Israel are out there, and we're talking about hundreds of millions of people and maybe even 1 billion people around the world, and I'm explaining in another video and in another class more details and more on this method and this idea. And suddenly a holy person is calling me and reaching out to me and tells me, listen, we're working together, I'm with you. And for me it's such a blessing. For me, it's such a light, it's such a positive feedback. And it's an outcome of years of dedication for a purpose and for the truth and for the sake of heavens, of the Creator's honor and respect. And I will keep on marching in that way. And you should follow your heart and listen to your heart, and then you will get that positive feedback as well, and you're going to see and recognize the godliness that is treasured inside of you, and you will see its reflections in your reality that is surrounding you. You will see the amazing outcomes of your honest effort, of your heart, and you will see the great results and the sweetness of the fruits that you are growing and nurturing in your days will come, and you will see that glory. And you will enjoy that light. And all of us one in his music, and one in his writing, and one in his work, and one with his children, and one with his career, and one with his learning, and one with his prayers. Everyone will use the power of his soul, the treasure that's been given to you to work with, that is waking you up and calls you back to life. Use it for the purpose. And with time and with honest dedication, you will harvest. You will see the sweet fruits coming out of those dry branches of your tears and of your loneliness and of your sweat and of your effort and dedication. And it's your job and it's your role to believe in yourself. And I'll tell you that over and over, again and again. It's your job to believe in yourself and not to back off and not to give up on your own dreams. It's your job to work hard and to find your true self, and not to give up on your hopes and not on your prayers, and not to back off from your ideas and from your vision, because they are all meant to come true, to take place in reality. And it's in the power, and that is the holy desire of our Creator, that all of our dreams will come true, and that all the lost tribes will be united, and that all the people with different ideas and different hopes will find a way to live their lives in harmony. And all the world and all the worlds and all the times and all the places are all synchronized. They're all working in as one, under the godly kingship of heavens. And the Creator runs the systems without us even knowing and understanding and recognizing how much He is involved in every detail, in every letter that is on your table, in every book that is in your bookcase, in every coin that is in your wallet. You don't know. There's a reason and a purpose for every fiber, every thread in your shirt. There is a story, there is a tale, there is a reason, there is a purpose for it. And only the ones who follows God with truth, with humility, with complete trust, as much as we can, working on it to be pure and to be purified and to purify others, for them to be pure and happy, will finally see that greatness that is waiting for us to see and to enjoy from. I bless you to not give up ever, ever, ever on your dreams, and to cheer up your loved ones as well, to strengthen yourselves, and never to back off from what you believe that is right and true, and not to fall to no low self-esteem and confusions because of the darkness that is surrounding us. And believe that there are other true seekers waiting for us out there in the world, for them all to rise and shine with us as one person with one heart, to accept the Torah and to follow the Creator with a happy heart and a wishing soul, that all our prayers will be answered. Amen.
שום דבר כבר לא יעצור אותי מלהגיע אל תוכי, בכל כוחי אבוא לקראתי, שמח